Hello, friends. Late night review. Oh, gee, it doesn't mean anything to you guys. It's a late night here for right now. Time for a Legend 4 Witch Doctor replay. It's a mix of legends and ancients in this game, so playing with some higher ranked players. Honestly, I prefer those kind of games. I feel like that's the best chance to improve. You wanted to know about some positioning, vision, fights, support things. So sounds like a just general mix of things. Let's see what pops up. Item wise, so tangos, of course. Salve. I don't know, cause so you're like Witch Doctor, Juggernaut versus Tidehunter, and either Snapfire or Lion. It's not fully clear, but probably one of them. So let's think about what the salve is good for. It's this quick healing, and it's a lot. It's like 400 health in total over 10 seconds. So it's going to be the most useful if the enemy team might remove that amount of health from you pretty quickly. Tidehunter is not quite that hero. I suppose if Tidehunter starts Gush, he can do that a little bit. But it doesn't feel the same level of threat as others. Like a Slardar, maybe, if he wanted to play aggressive. Timbersaw, those kind of heroes who like suddenly chunk you down in level 1 trades. I think that's where the salve, having a starting salve, is the most important. Lanes where you could potentially die. Tide and one of these two supports versus a Juggernaut, I don't think it should happen. I think it's a bit of a misplay from your side if one of you dies pretty quickly. Having said that, I think it's okay to start with the salve, but you could push it off till later if you wanted to. Ring of Regen, I think this also not quite needed right at the start. I personally am not a fan of starting Ring of Regen, actually, in general, especially on supports. It used to be a lot better because you got more regen and it was cheaper. It's no longer like that, and now I find that it's like in between this line where it like generally doesn't feel that great to me. Witch Doctor likes to have some mana to cast Maledict and stuns, or right-click damage because his auto attack's actually pretty good. And why not both, if possible? Some games you can't, that's okay. I'm leading up to this because that's two items, the Ring of Regen and the Salve, that we don't need right away. I'm okay with you starting a Sentry. I'm okay with you starting Clarity and the Tangos, of course. Tidehunter casts a lot of spells. So does Snapfire. Snapfire, not so much, but Lion does, especially with the mana drain. So I think starting with a Magic Stick would be really big here. I know that's a lot to talk about. We spent several minutes like not even looking at anything. But I think it's pretty important because it sets the stage for the rest of the game. At least for the rest of the lane and potentially the game after that. I'm not sure this blocks the camp. And if you're not going to block the camp, I don't know if you need to place it right away. And in fact, I might recommend not doing that until you get a chance to see some of the heroes and click them, because then you might see that they have a ward or not. Like maybe you see some of the top ones, like someone here, for example. Actually, this looks like a... Oh no, you've got the Beastmaster Hawk. So right now would be a great time, not while you move. This is movement into here is kind of dangerous, especially if you were to run into heroes. So I might not go over here and check right now. Instead, I might click back and then go check their items really quick. Or if you want to take the risk, YOLO, if you can do it fast. Go check it out. See if they have a ward. And then maybe if you saw mid had a ward too, like he walks to lane, and suddenly you've got both wards accounted for. Now it's unlikely they have anything down here. I don't know if you really need to have this camp blocked anyways. Tidehunter can make use of it, but Jug's not bad at it either. I think you could fight for this. I do think it's important to set the stage for the lane. We'll kind of speed up now a little bit, guys. But I do think those are some good considerations.
And they're off.
Oh, looks like Ember was here.
My thanks will come later.
So look at that. Turns out there were 3 heroes down here. Juggernaut was kind of off on his own. You don't even need to salve the guy, right? 1 tango sitting under tower with the mango. He's actually going to heal up to like 3/4 before the laning even starts. And then he can eat another tango pretty quickly and he'll be fine. So kind of just goes to show they had 3 heroes here. That's more than what I expected, right? We expected Tide plus 1 support. So they had 3 heroes here. Still didn't take enough damage to be worth salving. Because, I mean, that's just what like Juggernaut does with his spin against most heroes. So that's why I think this could be skipped and you start with the magic stick. You'd have a couple charges already. And then you could have a salve on the way right now. If you could ask Jug to cut this tree. Might help. I know they won't always listen. Oh, he's cutting these trees. Yeah, so I'm not sure what these sentries are for. I think it's a little weird unless you saw that they had vision down here, and I don't think you. I mean, I didn't see anything from your perspective that made me have that feeling. So this is 150 gold that I don't feel like has a clear purpose. It doesn't have a clear purpose to me. This one, if you want it, for whatever reason, if you wanted to guarantee the hard camp spawned, like, I guess that's what this one can be for. But I don't think you really need to do that. And then I didn't really feel like I suspected they had a ward here. I didn't see anything so, like, that it screamed out to me, I gotta check for a ward. So that's 150 gold that could have gone to something else. For example, a magic stick. Perhaps a mango, a salve. Things that help you play the lane. So you ended up pulling this hard camp. Let's go back. This would be around the time you think about pulling the small camp. So right here. This is a couple more seconds actually. So let's see what you do. All right, right around now is when you should go ahead to do the small camp pull. So that means in the next 10 seconds, are you doing anything so impactful that you had to be here? Well, Jug's not even like, right? He's fine. They're not really at risk of dying. All of this didn't do too much. I think you realize now you need to do the small pull, but you're a little late, so you're going to do the hard pull. But the hard pull, doing this is just like not as good. Not as ideal. You do end up getting this off, but look where they're standing. They can get the XP for this. Yeah, she's contesting you. It'd be harder for her to contest if you were at the small camp. Especially if you did like a half pull. She may not even realize in time. And then if you hit level 2 first. Actually, you probably wouldn't have because you wouldn't be near the creeps. A bit of miscommunication. I think that's definitely a kill if Jug goes on it. That's unfortunate. Now that the guy has Kraken Shell, poking him is a lot less meaningful. I might think about poking the Snapfire down instead. If he's giving you like free auto attacks, you can still go for it, but it's like this kind of attack is fine, because you don't really have the option to hit the Snapfire. But if you have the choice to choose, the Snapfire doesn't have the Kraken Shell, so right-clicking her is a little more worthwhile. It's a pretty good opportunity. Ideally Maledict first, but I think you might still get him. I'm gonna come down to this last tick here. Okay, nice. Immediately think about pulling. Let's see what you do. Alright, so it looked like you might be able to get her. I understand that. Anyone watching, if you feel like maybe you attempt that because there were so many creeps, is that an aggressive potential time? Not quite, because he doesn't have spin, and she has the leap, she has the scatter blast. She's so close to the tower, and they were kind of further away. If they were right on top of her, that's different. But because I knew they had to like walk in, to me, that was obviously a very difficult kill. Like, it required her to mess up. So that's why I think standing around here ends up not really meaning anything. That's why I'm thinking about the pull right away. Now, you still have time to do it, so may not be too big a deal in the end. But depending on the timing of when you get that last kill, maybe that was missing the small camp pull, right? So in this case, it's kind of working out. Although the Jug's gonna die here now. Salve your Jug! Oh! Nice. Okay, back up, back up. Ooh, okay. I was gonna say, the reason I said back up there is because I knew these creeps were about to start looking for their next target. If you're not in the area, they'll just walk down the lane. We're good. If you are in range and they target you, you are forced to walk down the lane so that they meet like this, which is kind of what happened. And if you want to go do something else, you don't. You can't because the creeps are following you, and you'll totally screw up equilibrium if you don't walk down here. So when it comes down to like the last creep like that, if you plan to walk straight down, you can go for the deny. But maybe there's something else you want to do. Maybe it's like the small, like a pull timing, a stack timing, whatever. You got to be really careful about that. I might consider trying to use a stun there to get that last hit. Although you are kind of low on mana, so I get why you, if you didn't want to. You've used 4 tangos. Probably one of them should have cut this tree to make your life easier to move through here. This tree doesn't really change your life. I know it's close, but spending the time to walk here to cut this tree, heck, you'll get a little bonus regen from this tower too. I think this is it'll open up a lot of possibilities to move, is what it comes down to. When the lane's right here, right, it feels really awkward harassing from here to here. How do you get over here? You have to walk all the way around, or you have to walk this way. Both not great. But if you can walk just this way and then start harassing from this way, it feels a lot better. Really important to have that tree cut, I think. Oops. Yeah! Oh, she's distracted. Oh, no, she's gonna come back for you anyways. Ooh, okay, so let's face it. 100% you should be dead right now. She should have killed you right here when you couldn't cut through this tree. Maybe she thought you were able to cut the tree and you were going to go through it, so she gave up. But you definitely should have died because that tree was not cut. If that tree is cut, you 100% live. Then you kind of like turned around again, very low. I'd be very careful of that. Okay. Cool. You might consider TPing mid here to refill your Storm Spirit's bottle. Especially now that you have boots, you can TP mid and then walk home. That's kind of high level. I know it's hard to coordinate that in pubs, so if you're... My advice to you guys, offer it. Like, hey, I can TP mid to refill your bottle. If they don't respond to you, then don't do it. Because otherwise, if you don't refill the bottle, it's like a total waste, right? So if they don't respond, don't do it. If they do respond, they're like, oh, yeah, please, then you can go for it. And I think it's pretty good. I don't even know if he has a bottle. He does. So if you had TP'd mid and then walked bottom, right, you'd be mid right now, refilling his bottle, and then it would take you about... you've got boots now, so probably about 20 seconds to walk down here. So let's see what happens in the next 20 seconds, if you would have missed anything, or if Jug would have died or anything like that. I don't think so, right? It kind of looks like maybe you guys could have attempted one. Looks like you were thinking about it. Try to land the Maledict first if you can, because this does do some damage, and that damage adds into the Maledict, the burst damage. So if possible, try to hit the Maledict first and then the cask. And in fact, if you miss... Let me put it this way. If you stun and then you miss the Maledict, a kill is not happening. If you hit the Maledict... how do I make sense of this? It's very easy to hit the cask. It's very hard to hit Maledict. So, technically, dropping the cask first to make Maledict easier, great. But you could also just throw out Maledict, and if you don't hit it, you just chill. And if you do hit Maledict, but you can't land the stun, Maledict and a couple auto attacks is really good harass, actually. It's like really solid. Against Tide, it's a little less because your right clicks aren't so good. But especially if he's in range to land Maledict, because your Maledict range is a little closer than the stun. If they're close, try to land Maledict without the stun and then follow up the stun. That's the ideal plan. All right, now I think this is time you could just be pulling. Nothing's really happened. I think you'd have gotten more out of like doing a bunch of small pulls. The benefit of doing this small pull is not only do you deny things from the Tide and Snapfire, right now you're looking for a kill, and they're keeping their distance. because the lane's in a decent spot for them. If you do a pull, you pull them, if you pull literally them towards your lane, so it's easier for you guys to make an attempt, and they want to contest you, which means now they have a reason to come to you, which makes it easier for you to land your spells, and then you tell your Jug, hey, walk over here, we'll kill her, kind of deal. But when the lane's like always up here, it's not so great. See, another hard camp pull, and Tide's right here. Jug got the last hit, but Tide got XP. All right, another attempt. Should be okay. Spin does a lot of damage. Nice. Then we walk back. Think about pulling. Run to this small camp, do a pull. Unfortunately, it's the Kobold camp, so it's not going to be very good. But, like, look what you're doing right now. You're healing the Jug. He's got a Tango. Tango will put him to about here. He'll be fine. Passive regen, he'll be, like, here. Yeah. You don't really need to be healing him right now, especially because you don't have the time. If you had the time, you had a couple seconds to kill, sure. But the pull is more important. So all this last hits, he could have gotten it without you. He doesn't need you. So now it looks like you're doing another hard pull. I think you didn't even need to eat this tree, by the way. This tree's cut, so it's fine. So look, you are going to get a pull off, but I mean, look where it is. Yeah, so Tide's just going to come over, get some XP. He doesn't even know. He may not even realize what you've done, and he's in XP range right now. That's why anytime you can, try to use the small camp instead. Okay, there you go, pinging it out. I can see her there. It also helps to, like, ping it on the map sometimes. It looks like you were stacking the small camp. That's good. All right, let's speed up a little bit. You want to be careful. Yeah, that's okay. You ended up with a kill. That's kind of funny. I was gonna say, against Snapfire, she frequently is able to escape over cliffs, and so it's sometimes like not worth trying. But yeah, it worked out there. So you've hit 6 pretty quickly. This is a killer spell. So if you can combo with like the Storm Spirit Vortex or anything, like your mid is crushing their mid. So he's a little low right now, but this could be a great time to like go mid, and he just needs to Vortex. You drop Maledict, you throw your stun, you ult, and then that's probably a kill right there. Even though Ember is a very mobile hero with escapes, if you combo off the Vortex, it's a kill, and that's worth doing. And Tide's a harder kill, and it kind of like worth less, but not bad either if you kill him. Okay.
Radiant's mid tower's getting banged up.
Going for the arcane boots. I don't mind.
I'll take that as tribute.
TPing bot though. Let's see if something happens. A little scared. Okay, I'm glad you were scared a bit. You didn't go up to finish the arcane boots even though you really wanted to. All right, now you can. Yeah, you know. Great. Don't you think that Juggernaut would have liked some mana? I bet he would have. Always think about your teammates when you're going to use arcane boots. This ward's wrong. Pop quiz, guys. Where should this ward be? You can place it in this area. That's fine. But where should it be? It should be on this side. Why? I can't really show you guys. But if you put a sentry on this cliff, which is not that uncommon, it catches this ward. The sentry moves over here. So he was looking for a ward up here and then accidentally found one here. So you want to keep it outside that cliff. If they put the sentry there, you should put it down here. Yeah. Can we see? Yeah, you can sort of see, right? So it would be like, it's like you place your ward here instead of like over here. Not that these are good warding spots, but just since we can see the sentry, just to like show you guys. They don't have a sentry here, so I can't really show you guys the radius. Although I'll try to keep an eye on it. Maybe we'll see if it gets denied later or not. So it's long past time for you to leave this lane. When Juggernaut hit 6, you could have considered leaving this lane. But you're getting kills down here, so it's kind of okay to, like, keep staying down here and get kills. But at this point, he's level 9. You have this super killer spell. It's down for 40 seconds. You should be moving top. You should be rotating top. And by the time you get to the top lane, because it takes a while to walk, even though you've got boots, boom, it's up. You're ready to fight. You're taking an objective. Jug will not die by himself to any of these heroes. He has no real excuse. Actually, one excuse could be like if he's low on mana, which your arcane boots could have helped him with. And if he has enough mana, he'll be fine because he has spin and omni slash. Yeah, so like, see, this is awkward. Let's say you get this lion kill, right? You're probably not taking this tower just because of like what's going on. Yeah, this whole movement wasn't necessary at all. Jug can farm by himself. And now, because you kind of force that rotation, people have TP'd down here to Jug's lane, and now he's not going to farm as well. It's kind of okay, because your team got top, so hopefully that means he'll rotate up there. No, he died. You know he died? Because there's 3 heroes down here. I said he'd be fine without, as long as he had mana. And I mean, he sort of was. You sort of saw him living there for a bit. And it only, like, he only died. I'm not trying to, like, make excuses for my statement. But, like, really, the only reason he died is because they could bring so many heroes down here. And they wouldn't be able to bring so many heroes down here if you were making things happen everywhere. Because otherwise, you're getting mid-tower and they're not doing anything about it. And then Jug should just be safe. But now they're able to go there because you force them to rotate bottom to the Jug. Ah, that's unfortunate. Pretty solid death ward. Alright, this stuff's good. Now's a great time. You don't have one. But now would be a great time to go ward. Alright, you've come bottom. I don't like this. I want you to be mid. Yeah, this is bad. Stop going to your Juggernaut, I guess, is what it comes down to. Juggernaut's a hero. You're aiming for 6. Let that be your general window. When Juggernaut's 6, you don't need to be near him anymore in most games. Some games you do, but let's just throw out the general rule. When Juggernaut's 6, you don't need to be near him anymore because Omni slash Spin is pretty much a kill threat on its own. It keeps him very safe. You can look for a kill bottom when he has his spells and then make your way out. So, like, look, he can farm that hard camp without you. He can farm that small camp without you. Right now, you're just, like, taking some of its experience. And that's kind of why, like, your bottom lane's going really well, but then, like, the Ursa is actually a higher level than the Jug, which is kind of weird, right? For as well as your lane's going, Jug should be one of the highest in the game. I'd probably look for this mid tower. You guys just push it. You got really nice vision there from the Hawk. You're very safe. You shouldn't stand on this high ground. You stand on your high ground. Let your team push in, and you stand in the back there, because your Voodoo Restoration just about covers them if you take another step forward. Your Cask, your Death Ward, all of that can easily be cast onto this side of the cliff, and you'll be much safer from, like, Tide Ult and things like that. Should be asking your team to come mid. If they don't know what to do, you tell them, like, hey, guys, I want to push mid. Make it a little easier. Grab the wards. Try to ward up on this side. Smoke up on your way. Just push this in. Just auto-attack these. The reason you can auto-attack these, I saw how low the tower was. I don't want them to deny it, so I need to push this back in as quickly as possible and hope these catapults will do it. And they're all missing, so, like, where are they? So even if they end up denying this, if you push this in, someone's going to have to react, and then we'll know where they are. I mean, it looks like they're going on Jug bottom. We kind of cheated there and saw. So once again, we're bringing a lot of heroes bottom to the Jug. Ursa free farming in the jungle. You and your team are just playing in the, like, wrong part.
Someone took out
All right. Solo killed the Snapfire, but then the team kind of died. I don't know. Did that feel worth it? Probably not, right? And I'm going to tell you, some of it was just poor execution. Like, you guys are diving the tier 2 or tier 1 pretty deep against a Tidehunter. That's generally a bad idea. But then the other part of it is just like, it's harder. What you guys are doing is like putting yourselves in a... I don't know how to explain this concept. But it's literally just easier for them to defend this than it is if you guys like invade other stuff. Even if you win that fight bottom, Ursa is free farming, and it's not ideal how you guys are moving on the map right now. All right, you're going for a mech.
Radiant's mid tower's coming apart.
Oh. I think Force Staff is really solid. So is Glimmer. Well, the issue with Glimmer is they have a lot of AoE stuns, so a little less. But they have a decent amount of magic, decent amount of physical. And they have kiting issues between this Ursa and this... Or just Ursa. You're just worried about getting kited by Ursa. So that's why the Force Staff comes to mind. So you can just like force away from him, force away from the Snap ult flying in. You see Tide coming into ult, you force away from the Ravage. Yules is good against Ursa, and just to have like another way to cancel some of these channels. You see this guy blink in, you pre-cast Yules, you Yules him before he Ravages. But Yules is a weird Witch Doctor item. Oh, tell you what, I'd also be super down for the Shard. The Shard would be a defensive item. Look, you disappear for 2 seconds, which means you can dodge Ravage, you can dodge Snapfire ult, you can... he runs at you, boop, Voodoo Switcheroo, you hide yourself for 2 seconds, there's no counterplay, and you damage him for that time. I think that would be a really cool item.
Radiant's top tower's in bad shape.
What's your team gonna do now? Ursa's looking kind of scary. Voodoo Switcheroo! That would be the idea. Unfortunately, it's not 20 minutes yet. Yeah, Ursa, you did end up getting him, but he's just way stronger than he needed to be. You guys did pretty, like, you did pretty decently bottom, and then you just stayed too long. And so... the issue with staying there too long is that you slowed down your Juggernaut, and you didn't slow down the Ursa. You could have been taking objectives sooner and kind of running around this Ursa, meaning he can't farm, but Jug would have been totally okay farming bottom against the Tide. So right now, the big mistake that I'm feeling for this game is that you just didn't rotate out soon enough. Because even though we picked out some stuff you could do better in the lane, you still won the lane, so that was not strictly the issue. Saw a bunch of them bottom. Now could be a good time to place a deep ward bot. Who placed this ward earlier? Oops. Yeah, if your team's fighting, I don't mind the teleport. Wish we could have pushed in top a little bit more, but it's just how the game goes sometimes. I definitely think the Voodoo Switcheroo would be a really good item. The Shard is actually good on Witch Doctor. It's not a meme. It's... imagine... it's like the Glimmer or the Ghost Scepter, right? But it's cheaper. It has offensive potential. And it's not counterable by like a nullifier or detection and stuff like that. And of course, it only works on you, so it is a bit greedy, but it is something to consider. depending on the game, and especially if you'll like die if you get gone on. And then Ursa or getting caught in these chain stuns, you definitely will. This kind of warding, you got very defensive wards. You've got all the tier 1, so it would be nice to go and play some deep wards, right? But every time you guys have made movements in there, you don't have a ward. I was going to say it here earlier, too. That's why I asked, like, who places ward. I was seeing if you put it there, because I just saw some people die bottom, and I knew the enemy was down there, and I was going to tell you this is the time to, like, walk into their jungle, maybe sentry here, and then, like, place a ward there. Because you do want some kind of deep vision this game, and you need to find a time to do it. Whether it's your whole team moving up there together and you place it, sure. Or if you see the enemy team bottom, then you just like, fingers crossed, I'm going to walk in here, let's hope no one rotates up here and kills me. But if you never have a ward, you don't get to take those chances. So you don't always have to place a ward as soon as you can, or as soon as you buy one. You can hold on to it for a little bit. It's better to get good wards than fast wards. And if you for whatever reason stuff has happened and you start to build up like 3 to 4 wards, then yeah, go ahead and place a fast one. Just to have some kind of vision, because that's better than hoarding 5 wards. But in this case, where you've got some wards down, I don't know where the others are. I think maybe some has been dewarded, but I think this one here got dewarded. But if you do have a couple wards down, it's okay to hold on to some until your team gets to move in deeper, and then you place some. Ember kill. So for example, if you were alive, this would be a great time to place a deep ward. Still could be. You trying to check up here. Yeah, at the end, if your courier's not around, no one with high ground vision, you can, it's okay to commit the second sentry if you have to, I think. Can we use this as an example? They never, I wasn't paying attention if they ever put a sentry. I wanted to show the thing, but the same idea applies, right? If you had to place a ward down here, if you were coming here and you didn't want to use this high ground ward, like, would you put your observer here or would you put it here? You should put it here because the sentry one doesn't, or the cliff sentry will spot this observer, but not this observer. And all in all, these two observers give very similar vision, but one's much less likely to get dewarded when people only put sentries on the cliff. And that's why it's like, same deal here. And it's like choosing this side or this side, it should be this side. And in fact, I use like right to the left of this tree. I like put it right there. I haven't seen you guys smoke. You've had one, but I haven't seen you guys use it. Witch Doctor is one of the few support heroes who can literally just bring one other hero in a smoke. Usually you need multiple heroes to find kills, but Witch Doctor commits Maledict, commits Death Ward, maybe Cask. Honestly, you may not even need the Cask. But like, you and Mars can kill any hero in this game if you start off with a chain stun. Okay, Ursa at this point might be a little hard to kill. But pretty much everyone else, if you start with the... Even if someone else has to start with a stun, and then you land the Maledict, so you miss out on some spell damage, still, the chain stun, Death Ward time, plus Maledict should be enough to kill anyone else. So, even if you can't get your whole team to listen, you could probably just smoke with like the Beastmaster, Mars, Storm, any of those guys, and you should be able to get a kill. I lost the tower without being ready to defend it, but it kind of happens in pub, so I don't want to worry about it too much. Okay, right idea. I'm torn because you kind of do need to wait for the... You need to wait for the tide ult, because otherwise your thing will get canceled every time. But at the same time, because the fight was going on, you kind of had to cast it, so... not going as well as you would have liked. But you stole Aegis, and that's pretty good for you guys. Relatively to losing Aegis, so kind of okay. My issue with Greaves, while we have a bit of downtime here. Ooh, wait. Perfect. Yeah, so you see the sentry, what it covers? Covers your observer earlier, but not my observer spot. So small things like that build up. So definitely recommend changing observer placement as far away from cliffs as you can. Keep in mind where the sentry will cover. But anyways, while we have a bit of downtime here, does Greaves really save you from an Ursa or like these chain stuns? That's kind of why like I don't think Greaves is the item this game. It feels like you need the Yules, the Force Staff, Glimmer. Any of those offers more utility to actually save you. Whereas in the late game, like the burst heal from Greaves is only like I don't know, an extra half second of survival. If Ursa has a couple stacks on someone, right? He's just shredding through it. Same deal with the passive from Greaves. It's kind of nice, but Ursa is building up Fury Swipes, and he's gonna chug. I don't know what I said there. He's gonna shred through it. That's what I was going for. He's chugging through your armor. I don't know, but you get the right idea. You know what I mean. A little awkward now that your mid tower's not being defended. So let's complete this idea. Mid tower not being defended should signify to the enemy that it's worrisome. Like, where's the enemy? Secondly, smoking at night is difficult because you don't know where they are when your smoke breaks. Smoke breaks before smoke. Here, does it show here? I think it's 1,000. Yeah, 1,025 distance. It breaks at night. Most heroes have 800 vision. So the smoke breaks, but you can't actually see them. And it's tough. So if you want to smoke at night, you kind of have to have vision down already, and you're just trying to get past wards. So like having deep wards or having hawks in this case. In this situation, let's go back. You don't really see any of them. You briefly see someone show mid, but you don't really see anyone else. And that makes smoking here very scary, especially against a Tide Hunter. Because when you smoke, you kind of have to be grouped together. Who's really good against that? Or like who likes it when you're grouped together? Someone like Tide Hunter. And in fact, some of these other AoE stuns are also quite happy to see you clumped up. So even though you guys like attempt this, I think it's super scary. For this reason, you all had to like clump up towards their high ground, and you just get killed. So even if you have Greaves there, does that save you? It does not. That's where like Ghost Scepter, the Switcheroo buys you 2 seconds. Ghost Scepter buys you however many. I actually don't even remember the duration of Ghost Scepter. What is it? It's 4 seconds. Glimmer, 5 seconds. Yules, 2.5 seconds. All of those have more time. The Force Staff, however long it takes for him to chase up to you. And that puts him a bit more out of position. All of those will do a little bit more, in my opinion. And if you have Voodoo Restoration going and you survive for like 4 seconds, you know, that's a bit of healing that is not the same as having Greaves, but kind of, right? They can't kill you, so you're healing your team 40 HP a second for an extra, I don't know, what do we say? Like 2 through 4 seconds. All that not bad. Kill this Ursa. It's kind of good. Oh, Ursa, please die. Oh, nice. Nice play from this Snapfire. All right, looking good. I don't know if you guys know if he has buyback or not. Roche is down, so you guys could go high ground if you want here. I might spend some of this time because you're not really contributing to this tower. If you need to heal them with a Guardian Greaves, that's fine. But this could also be a good time to place a deep ward on. You don't have time to do both. Just choose one side. But now that you're going high ground, it's a little too late. This positioning is very risky. You should be on the ground. Your heal isn't quite needed here. Jug's a little low, but like not really that much. He'll be okay. You need your mana to use all your stuff. It's kind of working out. I still wouldn't walk up there. I think I would still stay down. This very common sentry is like in this area, so it's gonna get this one. Try putting it over here instead. Right there. That's what I use if I want a deep ward on this side to survive. I think this one just
I'll take that as
like, I don't know, a sentry like anywhere here, anywhere like this area gets this, and it's not that weird to like put a sentry in this area for the dire. What are you doing here? I was looking at your ward placement.
I'll take that as
It's time for you guys to leave. This is too deep now. All right. It should tell you they have vision here, though. Can we switch? Oh, because we're on player perspective. Let's see. Where was their vision? Here. But the way Ember was moving should let you know that they had some kind of vision there. All right. I don't love that. I was gonna say with Ravage down, it's like a great time to go when Storm's up. Omni Slash used for a Tidehunter that doesn't have Ravage though is like kind of bleh. Bleh.
Radiant's bottom
Also,
tower seemed
I don't
big.
mind this ward. The idea, this area. But again, the sentry here, I think, can clip this one. So you should move it back a little further, maybe to this side, or like over here. I think these two spots, here and here, I tend to have like decent luck with, but they don't get dewarded.
Dire's mid tower won't last much longer.
Asking someone to cut this tree. This is a sneaky ward.
Dire's top tower, you know the drill.
All right. Who can kill you in this game? A lot of people. So this kind of aggressive positioning is really scary. You should just put your courier in here. Like, Ursa might come here to randomly check if Roche is up, and then he, like, just kills you. Yeah, okay. Well, actually, I was happier when Storm hadn't broke this second tree. That spot works a lot better if only the lower tree is cut. Because then it's difficult for the enemy to see it. And it's not like the vision improves that much with having the second tree cut. Should ask Storm to check that high ground when you place that sentry there. Oh yeah, see, perfect example. So they got the ward. Very common sentry. Oh, let's actually go back. All right, so see this sentry? It gets yours. It doesn't get mine. I'm not trying to brag, but like, high level warding is extremely intentional. It's all thought out. All my warding spots are extremely planned. I spend a lot of time in the map placing sentries and placing wards. And in fact, there's several warding videos on the channel if you guys want to check them out. Some are shorter than others, but where I place my wards is extremely thought out. And that's why you'll see me use this spot, like here, but not here. Why you'll see me place wards like here or here, but not here. It's because of all these things, like where are the most likely sentries to be placed? Sentries on cliffs, sentries in this area. That's why my wards are like here and not here, or more here actually. I'm not trying to, I'm really not trying to brag, but like, I really do want to emphasize the importance of the fact that you need to place wards in a way that, so this one's good. Like, I like this one. And that's why I'm telling you, like, oh, it's actually better when this tree's cut. Because I've sat here and I've planned them both. When this tree is not dead on the top one, then the enemy standing here cannot see this observer. To see this observer, they specifically have to stand in this spot right there. When this tree gets cut, anyone walking up this high ground will see this observer. So high-level warding is not coincidence. It's not like random, anything like that. It's very much thought out, and I highly check out those videos if you haven't, because like my idea and thought process are all there for all the spots. And I know the videos are, you don't have to watch all the videos, and if you don't want to watch any of them, it's fine, but at least for yourself you should think about this a bit more. Open up an empty lobby, use cheats to give yourself observers and sentries, and place what you think are the most common sentries in the game, and then look to find good spots that are outside those sentries, because it'll just help your observers last longer. Like, if you and I did everything the same this game, but only the warding was different, I think you've had like 3 observers dewarded, and none of mine would have been, or at least those 3 wouldn't have been. And whether that makes a difference, maybe, but it very well could when you have a hero like Storm who can pick people off, or when you're scared about Tidehunter and Ursa killing you guys, right? If I had an observer alive here, I wouldn't have like done a poor smoke in there and like lost that fight earlier. Things like that. So if you learn to like do those wards, then that'll help you out a lot too, I feel like. All right, we'll move on from my 10-minute rant about warding. All right, Glimmer. I suspect what you'll see. You notice how that lion has gotten away several times from the Jug because he goes invis and Jug doesn't have slots for detection. I think you'll see something very similar once you finish this Glimmer cape, I hope. It like has a utility in the way that Greaves does not. So see another. So here's the thing, right? They de-warded your observer here, which means they put a sentry somewhere in this area. It's very unlikely they put the sentry down here to check this spot. And if they do, it's probably because they have another sentry up here. Most likely, they put a sentry here to get this observer, and now you've put another one here. People are creatures of habit in Dota, especially outside of Immortal. They always use the same spots, very frequently. So it's very likely that you de-warded their sentry. They're going to come back here and put another sentry here, and now they're going to find another observer. So, not ideal. If an observer gets de-warded, you want to try not to use the same spot unless you absolutely have to. For example, you're doing Roche, and even though an observer here was de-warded before, you just need vision here, so you gotta put another one down, and that's okay. Go back to you. While this is happening, you should be... Yeah, now you're here. Unless someone wants to break smokes, but for you, I think... Boom! Look how great that utility is. You hid the Jug, Ursa walked in. Greaves doesn't offer anything like that. You actually... So this was a sick play. You actually just killed the Ursa thanks to that Glimmer cape. The utility on this kind of stuff is very big for supports. Sometimes Greaves are okay. I'm not trying to say they're not. But... I don't know. To me, looking at these heroes, I knew that like some kind of utility was better than the heal from Greaves. And I hope we explained that. And if it's not clear, leave a comment and I'll try to explain it more. But that's part of like the itemization, where Glimmer, Force Staff, those, they're all cheaper than Greaves, and they would have done a little bit more for you. But now that you have the Glimmer, we just saw one such example. Usually you don't get like a free kill like that with a Glimmer, but we'll take it when we get it, right? Be careful here, Jug's not here. Looks like your team is a little split up on what they need to do. Some people are like trying to end the game, and then Jug's here like looking for this tier 2. If I were you guys, I'd probably get the bottom racks. because I feel like Ursa should have had buyback. I don't know if he used it earlier and I missed it. But looks like you guys are going to end the game, so... Okay, I do want to know out of curiosity. Did I just miss the buyback? Okay, so it's just a mistake on his part. I think if he has buyback, he buys back here, and then you guys aren't able to do what you're doing here. And he probably... So he buys back just as, like, Tide ravages the stuff. He comes, deletes one of these cores. Because between Ravage and Abyssal, one of these guys are dying. So I think it's a riskier play to go for the high ground. Though I suppose as you start taking tier 4s, it's like, well, he's not buying back. It's probably fine. But I think a lot of times what would happen is you start hitting tier 4s, the core buys back, you guys get out, and it's like, okay, so you got the Ursa buyback, but we didn't really get any more objectives. And it's like, unless you do something in the next 8 minutes, it can slip away. Like your potential advantage. Whereas when he was dead for 100 seconds, you know, I don't know if he would buy back for these racks. He might just like let you guys take 1 racks and then go somewhere else. So it's definitely the safer play to go for the other objectives, I think. But it looks like in this case it's fine. Okay. All right, to summarize. Your laning, good enough. You won your lane. That's usually what we care about. To win your lane harder, though, think about using the small camp instead of the hard camp, and I think you'll see you do better. But let's check this out real quick. Yeah, so we see that your lane did go well in terms of the last hits, but then in terms of levels, we see that the enemy is not so far behind you. Sorry, I know it's a little weird to see on this graph, so let's just take my word for it if it's hard to see. That your levels could have been better that game, but because you use the hard camp instead of the small camp, it's easier for the off lane to absorb some experience from you. So look to do the small camp instead of the hard camp if you can. That's how you would win your lane even harder. But again, you did win your lane. So that brings us to our first major point. Leave the lane. Once you've won, you have a Beastmaster. Beastmaster, very powerful at taking buildings quickly and getting kills. Just go get kills with the Beastmaster and take objectives. It'll make space for your Juggernaut while restricting space from the Ursa. In this case, you guys kept playing bottom, which kept bringing heroes bottom, which gave Ursa free farm while slowing down your Juggernaut. And even though you did win some fights and eventually take some objectives, that is just strictly not as good as giving Jug free farm and taking fights where the enemy Ursa is. It's just better. So that's the first thing you can look for. Try to... I know it's hard. I know it's hard to figure out when to leave your lane. But at least be asking yourself that. And try to come up with reasons just to go. Like, if you feel uncomfortable, if you feel unsure, just do it. And see how it feels. You'll lose some games. Like, to be honest, you'll screw it up and you'll lose some games. But you'll start to get a feel where it's like, oh, Jug hit 6 and I just left. I wasn't sure if I needed to, but I did. And it worked out. It actually felt great. Just do it a couple times, and I think it'll start to make a little more sense. And then that's really the biggest thing I want you to try to do. But then the warding. I think the warding will be faster for you to fix than the habit of moving up. So that's why it's like, it's another big deal, but also smaller. Warding does matter more or less depending on certain games. When you have a hero like Storm, it's very important to ward well because Storm can get very easy kills by just zipping in. But if your wards aren't good, if they're all defensive when you need aggressive wards like a hero with Storm, or you put wards in spots that easily get dewarded, first off, it's golden experience to the enemy, but it's also a lack of vision. And when you lose vision, it's harder to push your lead, and it's easier to throw because you walk into a Tide Hunter up high ground with a whole team behind him because you don't have good vision there. So warding can sometimes feel not that important, but it is. So I think that one will be faster for you to improve now that I've brought it up to you. Just try to spend an hour. I challenge you guys, like, spend an hour in a lobby, play around with your wards, put the sentries that you think the enemies will use, and then look at where you're placing your observers. And if it's like overlapping, Come up with a reason. Well, why would I still use this observer? Like, if it's likely to get dewarded, what are the reasons I still use it? And if you can't come up with one, don't use that spot. Find another one that is not in the sentries ranges and be like, is there a reason why this is a bad spot? You know? And if there's not too many, then it's like, okay, probably use this instead of the one that easily gets dewarded. That kind of thing. And once you do it, you just keep using those spots for the rest of the patch until the meta changes the map, or something like that. So it's like a one-time exercise you need to do and then only revisit every now and then after that. Yeah, those 2 points are I think those are the ones I really want to emphasize. I think this game would have gone a lot smoother if either of those points were improved, so I think that's where you should start. All right, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.